Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. In terms of crypto and money, this was pretty much it. So, without further ado, let's get down to business, and to kick things off, some crazy news has been circulating, if you can call it news. It's more to let you know that many people in the area spread false information and cover a few bases. Now rest, they'll say. Because it was discussed here or there, this is obviously related. Right? Looking at the big picture of the financial world, we can see that change is coming, and it's going to be big. Although the traditional financial system appears to be collapsing, we do know that the BRICS are fast expanding. We also know that the BRICS are amassing large amounts of gold, and we know that central bankers are amassing massive amounts of gold, as well. This is the message they intend to convey. Because we're stepping boldly into the era of modern finance. This means there will be several trials, tests, and other similar procedures. Project Mariana is an example of such an experiment. This one was discussed, and it's called CBDCs. The CBDCs were essentially dismantled by automated market makers. If you have the time, you should check out this major undertaking. But it's hardly a crazy situation. A lot of big individuals in the XRP community have said that Ethereum would eventually replace all other cryptocurrencies, but it seems like these experiments and pilot programs are too insignificant to warrant any sort of attention. Now, the one and only Ethereum has been selected. Now, Ethereum has supplanted XRP. This is, in my opinion, a flawed interpretation of the situation. Nonetheless, a shout out to JC Collins on Twitter from me. Recently, this person has been doing excellent work. And as I've been saying, the BIS President Mariana paper makes no reference to Ripple or XRP. This is an entirely made-up story. This story doesn't hold any water. But time and time again, people fall for it. There is discussion of a theorem in the paper. A theorem, it turns out, is the coin of the banker. Now, once more, I don't want to give a definitive answer on which coin is which. Because, hear us out, we have no idea how many pilots there are or how many trials are currently underway. That's why having a diversified portfolio is so important here. What do you notice from this account, though? They're posting about their new project Mariana, and we can all agree that it's a huge success. Project. For CBDCs, the Bank of France, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and the Swiss National Bank are just a few of the international financial institutions that XRP connects. Now, this is the number down here. Like this is the section where they are really kind of looking at what DC Ripple offers in terms of its various services with the use of its native token, the XRP, which is essentially conceived of as an international payment medium or wholesale settlement coin. This is more from the Atlanta Fed, which we did break down, so it's interesting that it was brought up. We had a brief discussion on the topic. However, it appears that the text from another document was copied and pasted onto this one to make it look more official. The entire version of the document is available on this page. It was written by Matthew Lennon and explains how the many Mariana initiatives fit together. This is an official record. However, the document that is being shared over here is not actually from the BIS, rather, it was produced by the Atlanta Federal. Putting the BIS on top of this is a prime example of how this type of material is being used for nothing more than clickbait and page views. There's a lot of disinformation floating around. The video has received 112,000 views and 1,000 plus likes. Here's a hello from Crypto Eddie. Did you create this great image of her waving? Is this something you made, or did someone else provide it to you? It's a forgery, composed of 4 pages and a Nombus document, with the XRP text taken from a document belonging to the Atlanta Federal Reserve. King Solomon dissects the original source of this image and teaches everyone how to research and fact-check these unverified posts in his recent YouTube video. There is no such image or combined narrative from the BIS, but they get shared without any research and seriously harm the retail investor. In addition, the Atlanta Fed is responsible for these findings. This is an official document issued by the Atlanta Federal. I feel bad for JC Collins because he got a lot of substantial hate for this, but in the end he was just debunking the fake image that got passed around. However, the problem is that it is not from the BIS, like this is not from the full BIS. However, one truth that is not a hoax is that Ripple has recently joined the BIS, in particular for their cross-border payments task force, which I considered to be an important development given that the topic at hand is, once again, the market infrastructure surrounding cross-border payments. And I do think this is one to look at closely because, as of this year at least, we are beginning to see some progress in the realm of cross-border payments. The blockchain-based digital payment network Ripple is part of the Bank for International Settlements' recently established cross-border payments and travel building pay working force in Washington, D.C. In addition, on August 9 BIS published a summary of a meeting held on May 11 by its PAE task force, which stated that its members will strive to improve cross-border payments and reach the quantitative targets for such transactions that had been adopted by the G20. The committee is a subset of the BIS's Payments and Market Infrastructure Task Force. I've mentioned that before, and I dissected the CPMI, the organization associated with this, so yeah, I believe it's important. In addition to SWIFT, Ripple, the Clearing House, and a few other notable companies, we also know that SWIFT is on this list. What really gets me pumped about this is an image that Ripple's SVP and MD, Brooks Entwistle, shared a few weeks ago, so we have here wrapping up several weeks on the roadmap repping Ripple from the IFF in Kigali to the Point Zero Forum in Zurich this week. It is super encouraging to witness the open dialogue that MHS, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, pursues with the private sector towards This comes after only a week when the MHS granted Ripple provisional approval as a major payments institution licensed in Singapore. And if we go over here in the rear, we can see hosted by the BIS working together to offer payment system advancements, just so you guys can see. Then, about a month later, we heard that Ripple had joined the BIS's task force focusing on cross-border payments. So again, I think it's important to bring this up because, yes, these trials were conducted, and Ripple is not confirmed to be, a major player on or if it's a theory, but I want you guys to understand that, listen, it doesn't matter, right? Like, look at the other connections, don't just focus on these pilots, don't just focus on these trials. If we're going to hate on people, I believe we should despise the fact that some are declaring it to be 100% Ethereum because the element was referenced in a trial or proof of concept. It's not a theorem, but rather a BIS project. Not until we have absolute proof that it is XRP will I believe it to be anything. But hear me out, you're free to draw any conclusions you like. It's up to each person to decide whatever currency they want to use. I think it's important to point out that Ripple has been working with the BIS in some of these group discussions. We are aware that they have forever held secret talks with representatives from major central banks. Obviously, everyone has seen the viral photo from 2017 or 2018. You had the ECB, the president, and directors from the IMF all in attendance. There may have even been BIS representatives there as well. Listen, Ripple has a history of association with some pretty big fish. Everyone seems to think Ethereum is the one who is destined for greatness, but I'm still not convinced. It's possible I'm wrong, though. But I know that for me, I maintain faith in the efforts of the Ripple. I also think that Ripple is getting a very powerful digital asset from XRP. We also see the Monetary Authority of Singapore's MAS finalized stablecoin regulations framework comments from Ripple SBI Circle published framework AMC use of stablecoins as a credible and digital medium of exchange, and as a bridge between the fiat and digital asset ecosystems, over here on Crypto Eddy once again. This was something we touched on in a video not too long ago, but I feel it bears repeating because I want you all to know that the Monetary Authority of Singapore is making some serious headway, especially with respect to global stable coins. Keep in mind that the most popular coins right now are steady ones. There has been a lot of discussion regarding them in relation to rules and laws. And don't forget what I mentioned in a video, possibly on my second channel, concerning this executive directive on promoting responsible growth in the digital asset industry. In my opinion, it is 14,067. It's possible that I'm mistaken. However, that was on March 9, 2022. I mention this up again because we also know that stablecoin restrictions are discussed at length inside this. We are all aware of how rapidly stable coins can change hands. What else, though, do you think? The Financial Stability Board, FSB, and its international counterpart, the International Financial Stability Board, IFSB, stand out as the only relevant organizations to this executive order. As the EFFATF maintains its position as the preeminent body for the establishment of IMF or CFT standards for digital assets, the FSB is taking the lead on issues pertaining to stable coins, cross-border funds, transfers, and payments, and other international aspects of digital assets and payments. Keep in mind that my government will increase attention to these issues and strengthen collaboration with key international partners, including the G7, G20, FATF, and FSB, through forested areas. However, I have some high-quality research and information under my highlights, where I was actually kind of talking about the FSB in relation to Ripple and XRP, so keep that in mind if you're interested. I think you may find it on this page. If I'm not mistaken, I saw it under my highlights. I recall that we discussed the possible connection between Brooks and Whistle and XRP and Ripple. However, I did discuss the FSB to some extent. Here it is then. According to me, the suit between Ripple and the SEC has been scheduled since October of 2020. In the name of fair play, Brad Garland House is advocating for a uniform national regulatory system. In February 2023, the G20 will be working with the FSB, IMF, and BIS to create a global regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies. By the way, the FSB has completed its worldwide regulatory framework for crypto asset activities, and it will be released in July/September of this year, as detailed in this breakdown. And the next update from that arrives in September. We also know that they agreed that universal crypto laws would be in place by the year 2025. December of 2022. With whom can Ripple share its thoughts on the global regulation of crypto asset activities? Sure enough, it was the FSB. So, in the middle of the litigation, we learned that Ripple has ties to the FSB, that they had a chance to weigh in on global crypto legislation, and that they even hold crypto assets. In the meantime, we can see that they are still embroiled in litigation and that the idea of XRP as a security right is laughable. Sure. The same remark appears again in the Ripple answer, this time stressing the importance of establishing a worldwide regulatory framework to ensure a unified approach to cryptocurrency and prevent further regulatory fragmentation. This lawsuit was filed against Ripple, XRP, in an effort to standardize crypto regulations. The time needed to set up the necessary infrastructure and standards also hindered the development of the underlying technology. Once again, you are free to interpret this whatever you like. I am aware that many people view the litigation as an attempt to slow down the development of Ripple and XRP, in order to give Ethereum a competitive edge. We have no idea, right? We really don't know why, but my guess is that it had something to do with slowing the rate of technological advancement. Now, let's go back to that tweet I mentioned earlier, the one in which I explained why I think the SEC case against XRP was predetermined. I find it very interesting that Ripple was able to comment/make recommendations regarding this framework while in the midst of a lawsuit. Today, we get the finalized FSB recommendations on a global crypto regulation or regulatory framework. The document's strongest feature is its confirmation that the FSB intends for its proposals to be implemented globally by the year 2025. It's worth noting that Johnny warned that crypto legislation could take years, if not decades, and put the best guess at 2025. And here you have it, the year 2025. Once again, I've used this in numerous vids. I bring it up again because stable currencies are becoming increasingly popular, which is why I initially discussed them. We do know that a World Bank document and the International Monetary Fund both listed XRP as a stable coin. And if we consider all the ties between these issues, I think things are beginning to heat up. The $156 trillion market for international payments is poised for disruption. This number is expected to rise to $250 trillion by 2027. So there's a lot to look forward to, and listen, I don't care if the BIS uses XRP or Ethereum, I still think XRP has enormous value unrelated to what Ripple is doing. In my opinion, the main reason we were sued was because too many people counted on Ripple to generate value for XRP. Personally, I'm not too concerned with what Ripple is doing with XRP until we see widespread institutional adoption from Ripple, which could take years. Nevertheless, I do see significant value in XRP regardless of what Ripple is doing, and I believe that most of XRP's value will come from the XRP ledger and the growing number of use cases for it. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you in the next one, bye.